Hello everyone, welcome to the Math Bender. I'm Adnan Zaidi, and in this section of trigonometry sketching, we'll talk about tan curves. So let's start. Okay, so in order to draw basic tan parent function, tan x, for the domain 0 to 180, let's try to look at some values here. So if I plug in tan 0, it will be 0, tan 45 degrees is 1, you can check. But if I plug in tan 90, it gives you math error, which means the value is too big that reaches infinity, and so on for the other values. Now, tan function starts off with 0. At tan 45, when x reaches 45, tan function reaches 1, and it was increasing at a certain rate. When tan reaches 90 degree, the function reaches infinity. So if I have to draw this function, it will be like this. At 90 degree, I'll draw a straight line and an asymptote showing that the tan function, the blue line, the blue curve is approaching the function, the line, but is not going to meet it. This is 180 degree. Here, somewhere here is going to be 135 since it's a sketch, and 90 degree is the asymptote line. Here, somewhere here is 45 and 0. The values are 1 and -1. So by default, the function, this is one wave of a tan function. That's it. After 180 degree, the function repeats again. So we can say that the function ends at 180 degree, contradicting to sine and cosine curve where one wave ends at 360 degree by default. Same goes for the radian. If I write down their values, it will be 0, 1, infinity, -1, and 0 again. And if I sketch these as well, it will be like this. The values will be pi over 2, so 3 pi over 4 pi 0, and this is going to be pi over 4. Same function, just that the function is drawn in radian mode. The function continues same ahead as well in negative region, but I'll discuss it over in my next page. So characteristic of this function is by default it's a many to one function. For the domain, and it's not restricted, 0 to less than equals to x is less than equals to 180 or pi. The range is negative infinity is less than tan x is less than infinity, because as you could see the function reaches infinity at 90 degrees. So let's look at a comprehensive parent function here and look at their terminologies. So if I draw this, it will look like this. The asymptote line, and again the wave ends, another wave starts, and this is a continued graph though, but let me just try to fix it a bit. Now continuing it further, and so on. So as you could see, these are my asymptotes, the red lines. I'll write 90, negative 90 at the back. This is 270, and this is tan x function. This is 45. This point here is 180. And this here is 360. 135 here. And you can increase on these values. At the back it is negative 45, negative 90, this is negative 180, this is negative 135. The maximum is 1 and minimum is negative 1. We just mentioned the value negative, this is positive 1, and this here is negative 1. The terminologies, the period by default for this tan wave is 180 degrees, which means in 180 degrees the wave completes, and or pi radians. The amplitude is infinity to negative infinity because there is no maximum or minimum in this curve, because the curve will reach to a infinity or negative infinity. Now looking at some different domain for tan. So let's say if you were to sketch the curve for negative 90 to 90, this is where the tan curve reaches 90. So I'll draw a line here, the asymptote line. This is the red line is the asymptote, and on the other side, on the negative side, is going to be like this. And this point here is 45, and this is negative 45. The domain is from negative 90 to 90. The range of this function will be negative infinity is less than tan x is less than infinity. From negative 180 to 180, which means from negative 180 to 180 there will be 2 cycles, because tan one cycle completes at this is the asymptote line, and then from so this is how the curve looks like from negative 180 to 180. If I plot these, negative 180, this here somewhere here is negative 135, this is negative 90, negative 45, 0, 45, 90, 135, and 180. So the range of this function is again negative infinity to infinity for the domain negative 182. So for negative 90 to 180, so which means this is positive 90 and this is negative 90. I'll draw the asymptote line. Now, this here is 45 degrees, this here is 90 degrees, 135, this is 180, negative 45 and negative 90. This is for the domain negative 90 to 180. So this is it for different domains. In my next video, I will cover the transition on tan curves and multiple cycles when it is tan 2x, 3x or 4x. It will be a continuation of the same video. So until then, take care. Bye bye.